Hey guys, alright, let's get started. So today we're going to be going back into choosing either your false truth or your actual truth. And so today, the topic is choosing future you, because when choosing future you, you have to understand that your current reality is what's going to shape your future, and if you don't prepare yourself either in a positive light or a negative light, however you are right now mentally, if you don't prepare yourself in a positive light, then your future is going to be negative. The impact is going to be negative, and your life is going to overall not go the way that you would want it to go. And if it's not going the way that you want it to go right now, not reshaping your mind frame, reshaping your habits, and changing your lifestyle is going to keep you in that mind frame of being stuck in that narrative that you don't want to be in. So choosing future you now is your ability to change your reality, and your ability for you to be able to embody the personality, the lifestyle that you want, the life that you want, and to overall be happy with yourself and be happy with your life. Because if you are pessimistic, you're not going to be happy. You can't be happy because everything is negative. Everything that you're viewing about yourself is negative. Everything you're viewing about your life is negative. And if you get into your optimistic mind frame, then you are able to choose future you. So I want to kind of do a thinking exercise really quickly and think about back to when we were children. And when you were a kid, you were able to think of all these grand ideas. You were thinking of the wildest things to do, the things that have us now as an adult looking like, why would you do that? But you literally just had like limitless beliefs. You could do anything in your brain, and you would try anything just to see if you could truly do it. And obviously there's some things that are unsafe and that we were told like, okay, you shouldn't do that anymore, which is right. And then there are other things that we were told by people in our life, by peers, and by society that, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's off the wall. That's thinking outside of the box. You shouldn't try that. You shouldn't do that. That will make you elevate yourself this way. And subconsciously we suppress ourselves, and consciously we suppress ourselves. And then we don't realize that like later on that has a bigger impact on our future selves. So from that little kid and now into a teen, into an adult, we suppress ourselves when we have ideas. We suppress ourselves when we have thoughts that are outside of the box. We suppress ourselves when we start to have a positive outlook on things, when we start to be optimistic, because that negative reinforcement that we had back in the day keeps reinforcing the outcome that was pushed onto us by different scenarios. And it's not necessarily our fault. It is our duty to relearn and to understand that like there are certain things that you can get past. There are limits that you can pass, and there is no limit when it comes to what you truly can do if you believe that you can do it. And so just getting in the space and remembering that like our imagination used to be endless. Our imagination used to literally run wild all the time. That's the reason why kids they are easily like scared. They're easily excited. They are able to dream vividly the way that they do. They talk in their sleep. Some kids sleepwalk. Some children are even able to see spiritual beings outside of the realm that what we can see as an adult, because we've been suppressed. And that is give or take whether you're rooted in your truth, and to be able to understand that like demonic forces versus seeing actual light beings, that's a whole different story. But the idea that we were shown that, or we were told that, and we were shaped that our ideas were in a way of thinking like they're unstable, and that we can't depend on our ideas and we can't depend on our thought processes. And that's just not true. That's not our reality. Because if you take the wildest thought that somebody has and you write it down, and then you break it down into its parts, its separate parts, and you go all the way back to the beginning and take all the parts, just like when you start with something like a project, when you have a puzzle and you're building it, take all those puzzle pieces that's from your brain, that wildest thought, and separate them, and then you start to see how things can come together. And that's how people are able to create a positive reality, the optimistic reality. And if you believe that your vision has a direction, or you see that your vision has a direction, that's easier for you to be able to stand in that place. It's easier for you to realize that, like, this is possible for me and this is how I'm going to do it. Because if you have no direction, you really don't know what you're going to do. And that's when you start to bring up the negative. That's when you start to root yourself in the false narrative. And that's when you start to get out of reality of truth, and you start to be a pessimist. And a lot of us have been stuck in that mindset because we had an idea as a child, or we had started, writing and doing different things like painting and drawing and other things that were creative, and we were told that that's not that is not a feasible way to make money. That's not a way for you to make money. And we have all these creative ideas, and people who also are rooted in their false narrative tell us, no, you can't do that, or that's not a good plan A. That could be your plan B or your plan C. What is your plan A? And then we settle. And then we get stuck in this pattern of unhappiness. We get stuck in this pattern of being in places that we don't want to be anymore, and working jobs that we want to work, and being rooted in a false narrative. And as an adult, we've been pushed into a dreamless society. As an adult, we don't understand that a lot of our mind frames are stemmed from our childhood and our teenage years. And then when we do realize that, we don't understand that we can change that, and we can reparent ourselves in a way, and we can reestablish our mindset. And being able to reestablish your mindset looks like you understanding that you don't have to eat a certain way. You don't have to eat like your parents used to eat. You don't have to eat the way that your ancestors used to eat, your grandparents used to eat, because it's not safe for us and it's not healthy for us. And we see a pattern because it's an endless pattern, because they didn't choose future selves. They chose right now what is going to fill my body, not what is going to fuel it and nourish it for me to live a long, healthy life. Rather, what is going to fill me right now, and I'll worry about the consequences later. And that's the mindset that we're still stuck in, because us being stuck in the mindset of, okay, what can I fill my body with now because I'm hungry, rather than saying, okay, what can I eat that can make me full, that can fuel my body, nourish me, and not make me sick later on, not have me inflamed, not have me suffering from diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and all these other things, giving myself cancer, giving myself PCOS, giving myself painful menstrual cramps. You have to understand that it is all about your mindset. It's all rooted in what you believe and what your mind is telling you that is your healthy reality, what is something that you've been pushed on or taught by peers, family members, society in general. Because if you look at any movie, how they have the scene where the parents cook this big elaborate meal, or the family in general, and then you see all these things, and you see, let's just take breakfast for once, because breakfast. If you break your fast during the day, then you understand that breaking your fast is literally going from you're in a fasting state, and then when you hit breakfast, you break your fast. So whatever time that you eat, that is the time that you break your fast. So they tell us when we watch movies all the time to break our fast. So they say that you get up, if you're going to school, you get up, you go to school at 6-7 o'clock. You're breaking your fast at 6-7 o'clock because your parents are telling you have to eat before you leave out the door. And yeah, it's good for you to fuel your body, but your body might not necessarily be hungry then. So getting out of that mindset that you have to break your fast that early gets you to understand that, like, when you're in a fasting state, you are able to get into a space of breaking your fast, and you're able to get in a space of your body starts to heal itself. Because when your body is no longer trying to digest in order to get the food digested out of your body, then your body is able to eat all of the amazing, it's able to eat all of, sorry, I was reading an email. It's able to get rid of all of the excess toxins that are in your body. It's allowing yourself to rid all of the buildup that's inside of your body, because when your body is building up all these toxins and all of the unnecessary additives in your body, the fasting state allows it to be released. So understand that we have to cater to our mindset. We have to cater to us changing, because if we don't cater to us changing now, our future selves will not be able to establish new patterns, new habits, or will be able to reap what we sow in from those new patterns and new habits that we do now. And going back to what I was saying earlier, we don't cater to our new patterns, our new ideas, our new thoughts. So you go to the doctor, they say you're sick. They tell you that you have to change the way you eat, but you don't know how to do that. And instead of you going and doing a little, a deeper dive into research, not a little research on Google, but rather going and doing a deeper dive, let's say like you get on TikTok, you start to look up healthy habits, you see all of the healthy gurus, and you get overwhelmed and you don't want to do anything. But rather than trying something, so try one recipe, try something new, and or maybe even creating your own healthy recipe, because if you know and you have the tools and you understand what a healthy meal looks like, then you could go off of your brain and you could go off of what you can create inside of your mind. Because some of the best meals that I've ever made is just me going in the kitchen and just looking and seeing what I have and throwing things together, and they've been absolutely amazing. And I release those recipes that I make just because it's something simple. It was usually something simple, something easy, and I throw it together because it's something that I have in my kitchen. So you have to cater to your ideas and to yourself, and that's in every aspect, but especially when it comes to you developing healthier habits, because your body tells you a lot. Like your body talks to you all the time. God speaks to us through our body. And in order to understand that God speaks to us through our body, you have to get out of the mindset and out of the mind frame that you are not being told anything by your body, that your body is not giving you signs, and that you truly are being spoken to when you develop illness symptoms, when you develop the illness itself, when you get diagnosed with diseases. Your body is telling you it needs help. There's toxin buildup inside of your body and it needs to be released. And if you want to learn how to release those things, if you don't know how to release those things, I have a great detoxing guide that is linked in my bio, as well as understand that you have to get out of your old patterns in order for you not to be built up with all these toxins, because toxin buildup comes from a number of things. So soy is not good for me. I cannot eat soy, and you shouldn't be eating soy anyway, because if you know the pattern of soy and what it does to your body, soy raises the estrogen in your body. And when estrogen is raised inside of your body, especially as a woman, but even in men, because men shouldn't have a dominance of estrogen, you go into a state of estrogen dominance. And when you go into the state of estrogen dominance and this soy brings in fake estrogen, your body's real estrogen raises, it has fake estrogen. So then now your body is fighting for dominance with fake estrogen and an overload of real estrogen. And so that's how you get in an estrogen dominant state. And when you get in an estrogen dominant state, that is when your body starts to develop PCOS. When you get fibroids, you get cysts, and you get painful menstrual cramps. You might even lose your menstrual cycle depending on how your body reacts. There's a lot of things that comes from that. And that causes hormonal imbalance inside of your body. And that is from toxins building up inside of your body and your body not being able to release. Because when you have an overload of estrogen and your body is fighting the fake estrogen, those fake estrogens are toxins inside of your body. Your body is literally fighting itself. And understanding that your body is fighting itself and it's asking for your help will allow you to be able to release and to reset yourself and to get on a better track. And the number one way for you to do that is through your food. I teach how you can heal your body from food, because food is literally the key to life. Food and water, like the keys to life. How you eat is the key for you to live. And if you're not fueling and nourishing your body, you're filling and you're harming your body. And understanding that is getting out of the programming that we were put into, because we were programmed to eat the way that we do. We were programmed to not eat in a healthy state. We're programmed, honestly, to harm ourselves, because if we don't sit there and eat how we're told to eat all these additives, eat all these preservatives, eat all of these toxic chemicals, eat things that are producing too much estrogen inside of our body, then we're going to be in a healthy state. And if we're in a healthy state, then pharmaceutical companies won't make that much money. They won't make enough money. And then people will start to realize that those prescriptions are not healing me. They were just harming me more than actually helping me and pacifying the situation. I could go to this holistic method of me eating this way, and I won't any longer have to sit there and suffer. And then they won't make any money, and that won't be profitable for them. They'll lose business, and that is over $1 billion company. So that's not going to go for them. They're not going to fly for that. So they're not going to push holistic methods. They're not going to push for you to eat healthy things. And understanding that getting out of that mind frame will allow you to be able to heal, because you won't be able to heal going to the doctor and getting pharmaceuticals. You won't be able to heal continuing to eat the way that you eat, regardless if you limit, like they say, where you just eat a minimal amount. That's not going to work. It's just not going to work for you. And I was talking about estrogen dominance, the same thing in men. When men eat soy, they get estrogen dominance inside of their body. It causes hormonal imbalances, and that's the reason why men have low sperm count. They have issues with erectile dysfunction. They have issues with their own mood changes and mood swings and regulating themselves. Is because estrogen dominance, because you're not supposed to have an overload of estrogen inside of your body when you're a testosterone producer. Like, you have a little bit of estrogen, but not an overload. And the overload, it lowers their testosterone and raises their estrogen. So not only are they getting an overload of estrogen, but it also lowers the testosterone. That is not good for them. That is not healthy for them. And as a man and a woman, bringing children into this world, you should understand that soy is not good for you. It is not healthy for you. And consuming soy products is not overall healthy. It's literally getting you in a hormonal imbalance. So you have to understand that you are blocking yourself. You are putting yourself in a toxin state. Your body is fighting itself when you're in hormonal imbalances. And getting out of that mind frame and changing your mindset allows you to stop blocking your blessings. Because when you are in a state of being constantly sick, you can't live your life the way that it's supposed to. You can't enjoy your life the way that it's supposed to. You're supposed to be. So getting out of the space of you constantly eating things that make you sick and you consuming things that are no longer supporting you and support your body, you can understand that your body is speaking to you when you get sick. Your body is speaking to you when you have illness symptoms. And if you want a life of health and you want a prosperous life of you being able to go out and do the things that you want without having to go to the doctor, take prescriptions, and for you to overall enjoy your lifestyle, then you have to get out of the healthy habits that you have. You have to understand that you're choosing future you now by changing your habits and establishing new healthier ones for yourself. Because the way that we used to eat and the way that we currently eat is not the way to go. A lot of us are stuck in a slave mentality, and it's for every race. It's not just for black people. Every single race is stuck in a slave mentality because we're in a mindset of fill my body, eat because it's hungry. Not how do I fill and nourish it, fuel it and nourish it? How do I give myself nutrients so that I'm not hungry later on? How do I help myself be able to help heal and still fuel my body and to fill it so I'm not hungry? But people are so concerned with how could I eat quickly? How could I fill my body the quickest way? And if you have children, I understand, because it's like they're hungry, I have to feed them. But why would you want to feed your child something that is making them sick when you can feed your child something that will allow them to understand that, like, you can eat healthy, enjoy it, and be able to live a long, healthy life and to choose future you? Because that's what you're doing when you choose healthy foods. You're choosing future you. And I'm plant-based, and I'm not pushing for everybody else to go plant-based. I would love for everybody to go plant-based because the way society is, but understanding that you have to choose you, and subconsciously you have to give yourself consciously and subconsciously you have to give yourself I'm trying to figure out what the word is. You have to give yourself the tools in order for you to understand how to. You have to give yourself the mind frame in order to. In order for you to change any habit, you have to get in the right mindset. Because if your mind is not right, you're going to be pessimist about it. You're going to be negative about it. You're not going to want to change. You're not going to want to eat the healthier things for yourself. You're not going to want to establish healthier habits for yourself. So when you are sitting there and you're in the negative mindset, and then you try to push a new recipe recipe onto yourself, you're immediately going to go in there and look at it and be like, that's a plate full of vegetables. I don't want to eat it. I've never tried this before. And then as soon as you taste it, the first thing you're going to say is, ew. Instead of sitting back and having a optimistic mindset, being positive and saying, okay, this is new. I've never tried it. Let me put some things in here that I know that I like. Let me add some seasonings in here that I like. And if I don't like it, that's okay. I'm just trying this because this is something new and I know that's a healthier option. Give it your all. And if it doesn't work, then try something else. You don't give up. Because I've made recipes that I don't like. I made one the other day and I've been plant-based 3 years. And I'm still usually than not, I make a good recipe. But the other day I made something and it was not the greatest. I was like, okay, this isn't the greatest thing I've ever had. It was edible. I ate it one night and I threw the rest of it out. Like, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't the end of the day. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that everybody's going to make a mistake. You're in a new pattern. You're in a new habit. And that your life is not going to just hand itself, like your new lifestyle is not going to hand itself to you. It's not going to say, okay, here you go, you want a new lifestyle, here you have to go get it, you have to go want it. And having an optimistic mindset about that will allow you to do that. And if you can't get in that mindset, if you want to learn how to get in that mindset, I'm having an amazing masterclass on 12/17 that is going to teach you how to get out of that pessimistic mindset when it comes to your food and get to the optimistic mindset when it comes to your food. Because being able to get out of that slave mentality, that slave mindset around your food, will allow you to be able to establish healthier habits for yourself, to change the unhealthy habits of your life, and to overall heal your body to get the lifestyle that you want. Because nobody wants a lifestyle of suffering. Nobody wants, regardless if you're suffering now or later on, if you are on an unhealthy path, future you is going to be unhealthy. You're not going to change your habits overnight. And a lot of people think that, like, okay, I'll hit, I'm 25 now. They'll be like, I'll hit 25, 30, and then I'll decide I will change my patterns, I'll change my habits. Why? When you can do that now? Because there are so many things to enjoy, and I'm plant-based. Like, I have not had one thing that I'm like, man, I wish I had this, and like I haven't tried it and it didn't resemble the old food that I used to eat. I have made every single meat that I used to eat into a plant-based form, and I have no complaints. Like, I will genuinely enjoy the food that I make. And even I can go find a place, like a vegetarian or a vegan place, that makes the same similar foods that I used to eat. There's soul food vegan. There is literally all these options, and they're healthier for you rather than you going to McDonald's, you going to Burger King, you going to Wendy's, and all these places that do not care about you. Because I've noticed, and there's a pattern in my state, but I don't know about California and places that have a lot of vegan and plant-based places, but the places that I go to that are vegan and vegetarian and are not necessarily more expensive, because I've learned that, like, I'm really paying about the same amount, if not less, than people that are going to fast food places. You'll learn that those places care about you more than those other places, because they literally are making from scratch. Like, these are scratch kitchens. A lot of these places don't even make it in, like, ahead of time. They make it to order per person. So they put their heart and soul into it. They're not unhappy with their job. They're not working long hours, because a lot of these places are not a chain restaurant. These are a one and done. Like, this is the only place, this is the only time they have a certain amount of hours. You either get there or you don't, and they're a small business. And then if they're not a small business, then they're a smaller chain. They're not like McDonald's, where they have millions of McDonald's all over the world, and they're overworked and they're underpaid, or they have one person that's paid correctly and then they're over everybody else that's unhappy. And they put love into your food, because if there is people that are working and serving you food and they're putting hate into your food, you're eating the hate. So if you understand that people who put love into your food, you feel that. And we know that because of a good home-cooked meal. When people are serving you fast food and they're putting all of that hate and that sadness and that anger and that overworked energy into your food, you are consuming that. And that's why so many people, not the only reason, but that is why so many people stay sick. You're literally eating sickness, like illness energy, because they are so unhappy. And when you're unhappy, it's easier for you to get sick. And you can look at anybody in life, because when people start to have a terrible life, and when people start to have things go on in their life, they start to get ill. Like, when you see that people are ill, because I have one coworker, her husband he had to go on dialysis this year. It's crazy. She she was going through all of his kidney treatments and all his doctors and everything, and he didn't want to go through dialysis. Like, they were fighting it for a couple of years. She developed a heart murmur. She'd never found a heart murmur, never heard anything about her having a heart murmur. She developed a heart murmur. She was gaining weight excessively, like having all these issues that she had never had. And it's because, like, she stopped taking care of herself and started worrying about him. And that worry and that stress, she was overeating. She never consumed any water. And she was my coworker, and I was in the room with her. So, like, I was always like, you need to drink water. You need to drink water. And she was always like, I don't want to drink water. I just water down my Pepsis, kind of thing. And that was just her mind frame. That's where she was at. And, like, I felt bad. So, like, I wasn't on her about drinking the water necessarily, but I always was just, like, throwing it in there, like, hey, you need to go get some water. Like, she was like, I'm suffering from headaches and everything else. And I'm like, it's because you need some water. So we would bring in different things, trying to introduce her to different water sources. So, like, my coworker bought a juicer. She was starting to bring her apple juice. I brought her apple juice because I had a juicer. Just bringing her different sources and getting her out of the mind frame that she couldn't do it, but she still was stuck in it. But she started to try implement like little things. Like, she did one week where she was just like, I'm gonna drink one Pepsi a day, and she made it through the week and she was fine. Like, she did pretty good. And it's just about having that little, like, feeding in your ear, because she still is suffering because her husband, like I said, doesn't want to do dialysis, and I hate it, but she doesn't have a support system the way that she wants to, and a lot of it is because of her mind frame. She doesn't tell anybody about what she's suffering from. She lets you watch and witness, and she's in the mind frame because she's been like that all her life, from, like, hearing her story and listening to her, that nobody's going to support me, nobody's going to help me, I can't get help from other people, and I can't depend on other people, so I just let it all pile up on myself, and I take care of everybody else. Nobody needs to take care of me, and including herself, because she doesn't even take care of herself. And she keeps herself up maintained, like, look wise, but mentally, physically, and emotionally, she does not take care of herself. And so I love to help people do that. Like, I truly enjoy helping people understand and get out of the mind frame of, you can help yourself heal. You don't have to suffer, because they're suffering in their household. And as much as you want to help other people, and as much as you try to help other people, if they don't want to get out of their mind frame, if they don't even want to try to get help themselves, then you can't help them. And I've come to realize that, because, like, I'm the person that will bring me to tears trying to get somebody to understand that they don't have to suffer. But she was telling me, like, this is just the way that I am. This is what I've learned. And people are so stuck in that, because I hear that all the time, this is what my family does. This is what I've learned. This is what I've been taught. My mom ate this way. My grandma ate this way. This is my family recipe. But I'm like, you understand that, like, you don't have to keep doing the patterns that don't support your habits that you want. You don't have to keep doing the patterns that aren't supporting us, because your grandma, your mother, and whoever else, they've suffered from diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, all these other things going on, PCOS, they have fibroids and cysts, and if they even go to the doctor to get them checked out, it's stemming from the food that they eat, and they don't even realize that, because they're literally sitting there in that pessimistic mind frame, that negative mind frame, saying, this is the way that I've been, I can't change, there's no way for me to change, I don't even know how to do this, and I'm not going to sit here and try to figure it out myself, and all these other negative thoughts, when it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. It's not true. That's not your reality. And understanding that that's not their reality is the only way for them to help themselves heal and to develop a healthier lifestyle. Because it's not impossible to rewire your brain. It's not impossible to get into the new mind frame. Your mind will tell yourself that if you've never tried to change a habit in your life, if you've never tried to reestablish things in your life. Because I have a problem with me biting my nails, and I used to tell myself all the time that, like, I will never be able to stop biting my nails. I will never figure out why I keep biting my nails. In college, I took a course about behavioral therapy. I learned why and how to stop biting my nails, and why I was biting my nails. I still do bite my nails to this day, but it's only usually around the time that I'm super, super stressed in the month, because I feel like every month around a certain time I get really, really stressed, and then everything subsides and I'm fine. My nails start to grow out. I'm cool. I don't attack my nails. So what I started to do is sorry, somebody ordered Kroger because it's like driving through. But what I started to do is to realize is that when I start to get stressed, I want to put nails on, or before I start to get stressed, like when I know around that time, or maybe because I haven't tried it yet, but my niece was telling me there is a nail polish on Amazon that gets you to not bite your nails because it tastes terrible. And so I started to realize that, like, okay, when I start to get around that mind frame of, and it's usually when I'm in my bed too, I start overthinking, I start biting my nails. So what I do is I stop and I either put my hands under something or I go find something to do. Like I get up and I try to find me something else to do. If my nails aren't already painted, because if my nails are painted, usually I catch myself and I'm like, ooh, my nails are cute, I don't want to paint them. I mean, I don't want to mess them up. Or if I have like my press-on nails on, I don't want to mess them up, and I think about that. But if I have nothing on my nails and they're bare, I usually try to go coat them with something that I don't want in my mouth. Like I don't like the taste of shea butter, I don't like the taste of castor oil. So what I do is I get up and I start rubbing castor oil or shea butter around my hands, and usually I'll stop biting my nails. It's just about getting out of that mind frame and recognizing, because if I never realized why and where it was coming from, I wouldn't recognize and I wouldn't understand when those things were happening. Because I used to literally like bite it down to the nub. Like my fingers would be in pain after I would get done biting them, and that's just because I didn't know where it was coming from. And so like I just thought it was a nervous habit and that I was just going, but it's not a nervous habit. Like it's literally me overthinking. And a lot of the time when I'm biting my nails, I'm not even a lot, 100% of the time I'm overthinking. Like I've noticed that it's just like I'm overthinking. And so I changed that mind frame of me thinking that like it was a nervous habit, because that's all I was told when I was younger. It's like, it's a nervous habit, you need to quit. What are you nervous about? And me realizing that I'm not nervous, I'm sitting here thinking. And it doesn't even have to be a negative thought. Like it can be a positive thing, but I'm just overthinking it. And when my wheels are turning, my teeth are going. And I'm not a emotional eater as much as I used to be. Like I used to be like, oh, let me go grab my tub of ice cream, but I go ham on my nails, and I've been like that all my life. So I realized that like I want to have beautiful nails. I want to be able to not be in pain when I touch my fingernails or they touch anything else. So I changed my mind frame around that when I was in college, and now here I am. I've been out of college for about almost 3-4 years. No, it's been, oh my goodness. I don't even say that. It's been a while. I've been out of college for a while. And now I realize that like it's because of how my mind was framed around the people that were around me, my peers and my family members, that I thought that I would never be able to get out of that mindset. I would never be able to change the way that I thought around me biting my nails. And me doing that was intentional. Like me understanding, I don't even want to say it. It's crazy, but me understanding that it was intentional, that I choose for me to have cute nails. I want cute nails. I want for me to be able to have all of the cute accessories on my nails. I want to have the cute painting on my nails. I want for me to, be able to look at my natural nails and be like, oh, those things, as long as they're cute. Because my best friend, she has beautiful nails, like the prettiest nail bed, like super long nails. She can grow her nails out like so long they look like claws, and I'm like, girl. And she's like, I know I need to cut them, but like she's always been like that, and she's always had beautiful nails because her mom instilled in her that like you don't have to have fake nails, just focus on your real nails. And she's one of the people who keeps, like, she has her nail clippers, her nail files, her tweezers with her all the time. And I was like, I want to be like that, but I never knew how to change. And my mom has always had pretty nails, and I've never understood how to get around that mind frame. And now that I do, I'm like, okay, like I'm going to embody that girly, like that's going to be me soon. And so I'm trying to get in that habit. I still haven't established that habit for myself yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting in that mind frame. I'm getting there. It's coming. It's coming. But in order for me to be able to even think about that was for me to get out of the mind frame of I couldn't, the negative, like me being a pessimist of there's no way for me to stop this. I've been doing this since I was younger. Like I've been chewing on my nails since I could chew. Like there is no way. But that was blocking myself. I was blocking my blessing of me having healthy nails, for me to stop being in pain when it came to my nails. And a lot of people block their blessings too when it comes to them being healthy. And that's with their food, because I have somebody in my life who suffers from a number of illnesses, and every single time I tell them the same thing: you shouldn't be eating that because you know it's going to flare up your gout, it's going to flare up, it's going to cause you inflammation inside of your body, and you're going to be in pain. I don't say anything else. I just let them know that I see the pattern within a couple of days, if not the next day, because usually it's the next day. They're limping, they can't even walk on one foot, and then they're having to have their heating pad and they're sitting down all day long, and you tell them that it was this, and they're like, oh no, I was doing this and all this stuff, and you're like, okay, and you let it go on, and there's been a couple of days, and the same thing, because they're not changing the way that they eat. The same thing, I tell them, your food that you were eating was very inflammatory. It was fried food. It flared up your gout. You're not feeling good. That's the reason why. Or because he also has bowel issues. Same thing. And they do the same thing, that they make excuses. They change the way they eat for a couple of days, and then they get better. They slow down the inflammatory causing foods, and then they get better. And the habit is endless. They keep doing the same thing and the same thing. And this same person has had a number of surgeries because they keep doing this to themselves. And at one point was so stubborn that they just did it every day. They were eating the same way every day, regardless if you told them that they shouldn't be doing it or not, and had to literally have their intestine removed, had to have surgery, had their intestines removed, unhooked for a year, and then rehooked, because thank God that he got better, because he realized that, okay, I'm changing my habits. But he only did it for the time being, instead of choosing his future self, because he even said while he was like in the hospital after, I'm not doing that to myself anymore, I'm changing my ways. He changed for a year, and then once that year was over and he was cleared and in the go and was ready to get back like on the surgery table, get it reconnected, and was fine, he went back to his old ways. And that's just because he's in that stubborn mind frame. He's in that old mindset of, it's okay for me to eat this way because even talking to him, he says the same thing. My dad taught us this way. My granddad, we eating this way, and we eat meat with every meal and all this other stuff. And he even says it out of his own mouth that, like, this is just how I was taught. This is what I was raised as. I guess this is why my mind is like that. And it's like, yeah, it is, but you don't have to keep doing that. And it's blocking his blessings, because I'm like, he enjoys a lot of life, but he also has a lot of times of him being sick. He is a very active person. He likes to be out in the yard. He likes to do things. And so I'm like, you don't understand, like, you could have so many more days of that, because especially nowadays, you see people passing away earlier and earlier. You see people unaliving earlier and earlier and leaving this earth. And everybody has their date to leave this earth, because people love to say, well, I'm going to go one way or another. You know, everybody has their end date, but you don't understand that you're moving it. And the reason why meat isn't good, and that's all meat, and this is the reason why, because before I went plant-based, I was like, okay, well, I'll just eat seafood kind of situation. Looking into meat, the way that meat is going and where our society has, I don't know if you know this, but America has approved for GMO meats to be put in any source of meat, as long as they don't have to label it, they don't have to tell you. As long as it's GMO, they don't have to tell you. I don't know about any, because I know that there's like, I think it's the same thing, bioengineered and GMOs, because they have to tell you about bioengineered because it's on the products of like Chex Mix and things like that. But GMO meats, they do not have to tell you. It can be in your fast food. It can be in your packaged meat that you get from the deli, wherever. And so they're finding cancer in a lot of these animals. And what they do when they find cancer in these animals is they cut the cancer piece off, and then they still sell you the meat, the other half of the meat, regardless if it's been tainted with cancer or not. So I don't trust it. And even like people who worked in delis have come out and said that, and people who work in the the meat packaging industry come out and say the same thing, that they have witnessed them cut cancer out of meat, and then they don't tell people, and then they sell it. Like, there's no regulation around them selling meat that has been has cancer in it, as long as the package itself does not have the cancer product in it. Yes. So It's scary, and I don't trust it. I don't like it. So that's why I am an advocate for, if you want to try plant-based, try it out. Like, it's just a trial or error thing. And I don't go for vegetarian because people are like, well, how about going vegetarian? Dairy is inflammatory. Dairy is not good for you. Dairy is bleached. We should not be drinking bleach. They give these animals antibiotics and probiotics, and then they get, antibiotics. And when they give these animals these antibiotics and they also have an illness, they build the resistance to the antibiotics. So the parasite has the antibiotic in it, and it has a resistance. The animal has the resistance to antibiotics, because we all know that when you take an antibiotic for so long, you get resistant to it. And they're given antibiotics all through their life. So now you have this meat that has parasites, antibiotics, and the resistance to it. And so when you take that, and the illness, not only the parasite, but the illness, so then you take that meat and you consume it. Now you have parasite, antibiotic, you have illness, and then you take that and you eat that. You go to the doctor and you're sick, because a lot of people get sick from this and they don't even know where it's coming from. And you eat this meat, you're sick, and your doctor's telling you that you have this pathogen in you, have the parasite in you, and they don't know, because they're giving you a number of antibiotics and none of them are working. It's because the animal has already had that antibiotic and you've had the resistance because you've eaten it. The animal has the resistance, so there's nothing to fight it right now. That's why they have to keep coming out with new antibiotics, new drugs, because if they don't, then that parasite and that illness will run rampant, because there's no way to stop it because of their practices. Because back in the day, these animals used to be safe to eat, but now they're not safe to eat because of their practices and the way that they do. And especially now that they've started producing GMO animals, GMO pigs and cows. And I don't know if they've started horses and other things, but people don't eat horse meat, but still, people might. But still, it's like there's GMO animals. And so now you're having parasites and all these other things, if they can get it, because it's a genetically modified, engineered animal, and they give them this fake animal, they raise it or however and produce it. It's given its desired, because I think that's what they said desired traits, and then they put that inside the animal, and then they're raised, and then they're sent to the slaughter, or the meat, because I don't really know if they even, like, do they raise these animals or do they lab grow them? Because I know lab grown meat is a thing. So it's like, that's where I'm just like, I'm very weary about it, because it's like they could say that they're growing these animals or letting them raising these animals, but they really could just be, engineering food and making it and packaging it and then giving it to you. And they're probably doing both, but it's very iffy, and I can't trust it. I can't promote it to people. The only thing that I can say is, if you are going to still consume meat, the best source for you to go do is find a local farmer's market, find a farmer, look at their their soil tests, their grass tests. Ask if you can see their farm. Like, ask a whole bunch of questions. Where do they get their animals slaughtered? Do they slaughter them themselves, or do they send them off to a factory? If they send them off to a factory, look into their fat. Like, it's a lot that you'll have to do. But if you're going to consume meat, like, that's the best way for you to be able to help yourself and to not harm yourself. Look into the factory that they slaughter the animals at. Look into what else? Because it's like what they feed their animals, where they started producing their animals from. Because if they are an old farmer, they probably have had their animals for quite a while. They've been producing off of, a family of generations. But if they are a new farmer, I look into it, because they might have a GMO cow, they might have GMO pigs. Look where they're getting their animal source from. Like, I would look into it if you're going to, and go to a farmer's market. I would not get it from the grocery store. The grocery stores are full of GMOs, and you can talk to a farmer because it's coming straight from their farm. I don't trust any other source. I genuinely don't. And the same thing with fast food, because like I said, they can put GMOs in your fast food and they don't have to tell you. They are putting GMOs in your fast food and don't have to tell you. If you look back, I think the early 2000s to mid 2000s, McDonald's did I know everybody knows this, they did their rebranding of 100% real chicken, 100% real beef. McDonald's only did that rebranding because they were in rumor, but I'm pretty sure they were sued for it. There was rumors that they had they had, I think there was a rumor one, they had horse meat in their chicken, and I think it was half and half byproduct of horse meat and soy in their beef. In their chicken, I think it was 100% horse meat. They had that whole debacle, and we're saying that it was what was it? What is that? It was a conspiracy. It was a conspiracy, but they were sued for it. The lawsuit, you know how it goes. When you're sued for something and you don't want it to go public eye, you pay off the lawsuit and then you rebrand yourself. That's exactly what they did. And then they just labeled it as a conspiracy, because even if you still look it up to this day, you can look up the lawsuit, you can look up the settlement, but when you look up the fact that they were selling horse meat, the only thing that comes up is the fact that they were conspiracy about them selling 100% horse meat, and that that was never proven, and that they never went to court about it. And then it goes on to say that how the fact that they rebranded themselves because people were saying that conspiracy and a whole bunch of other things. And that's like from like Fact Checker and like the news media that can be paid off. But if you look into blogs that were following that and old articles, the same thing. Like I just said, they settled and they rebranded themselves. So now that's the reason why they can do their 100% chicken campaign, their 100% beef campaign. And then now they're still even lying to you, because if you look into it, their 100% beef and their 100% chicken, they use soy products inside of their meat. So how is it 100% if you use soy products? Like, that's not 100%. And then you also look at their ingredients list, and it has soy, it has titanium dioxide, it has sodium dioxide, it has sodium phosphate. Like, it has all of these things in it. It has all these things in it, and all these people, and that's a lot of fast food restaurants. So if you look into it, because I think the same thing happened to Burger King, I think some years ago, the same thing, that they had an allegation that their meat was 100% meat. I don't remember exactly what it was, because I was young when all these allegations came out, and then they started to rebrand themselves. But it's like the same thing with, I think Jack in the Box back in the early 2000s, like 2004-ish, probably 2001 to 2004-ish, I don't remember, when they had their E. coli breakout and all those people got sick, or all those children got sick and they were hospitalized and all the other stuff. People stopped eating at Jack in the Box. The only people that you see eating at Jack in the Box now are older people. And that's because people are so scared to eat Jack in the Box. And now, like, for my generation, that Jack in the Box isn't even a thing. Like, people are like, how is Jack in the Box still even in a business? And that's because they didn't rebrand themselves. If McDonald's wouldn't have rebranded themselves, and that would have went to court, because McDonald's, you know, they're $1 billion company. I don't know how much money Jack in the Box was making back in the day, but I know it's not as much as McDonald's. If they could have rebranded themselves, they'd probably still be on and popping the way that they want to be. But McDonald's had enough money to rebrand themselves and to pay those people off. So since they could pay those people off, they're still in business. There is no allegations. It's a conspiracy. So they still are thriving. Nobody really knows that their meat does not have 100% meat in it. And they never knew. They never will ever believe that unless they do some research. Because it amazes me that people don't do research about the food that they eat. Because when I was suffering from painful menstrual cramps and I was going through things, and I was thinking that like maybe I was developing a cyst or I had fibroids, and I was afraid to go to the doctor, did not want to go to the doctor about it. And I was telling them, and I was too young for a pap smear. So, or I wasn't too young, because I think you can get it at whatever age. But like, I was still young, and my doctor was asking me, did I want one? And I was telling her no. I was looking into what could I do for myself? How could I help myself? And I started to look into soy and got on the soy train, and I've been looking into soy for a minute now, and that's when I started to realize that like it causes hormonal imbalance inside of your body. And soy products are in a lot of the food that we eat. And all the foods that we eat, like soy is in Oreos, like a whole bunch of junk food that we eat. Soy is in packaged and like frozen meats and packaged meats. It's in our fast food. Soy is obviously soy sauce, like what other products? Soybeans, I think edamame is soy. Like, soy is literally all around us. There's so much soy in our disposal. And understanding that soy is a hormone disruptor. They put soy in nail polish. There's soy nail polish. There's soy ink. There's soy products all around us. And these soy products are causing hormonal imbalances in us. This is the reason why there are young girls having all of these issues with their organs. They're having all these problems because Cheetos, I'm pretty sure Cheetos and things like, yeah, because chips have soy in them. So they're having early menstrual cycles. They're having menstrual pain at such a young age. They're having, because me, when I was a kid, I literally would turn super, super white pale, and to the point where, like, because I'm in school still, because, you know, you can't miss a day. That's not a thing in America. You don't miss a day because of your menstrual cycle. I was turning super, super pale. One of my teachers literally came up to me, and I'm in class, and I'm like feeling like I'm about to pass out, but I'm holding on because I'm like, okay, this is just normal. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like shaking and drinking my water. And she looked at me and was like, you look like you're about to pass out. You look like you're about to throw up. And she goes, can you make it to the nurse? Because she was like, you're not about to sit here. And she goes, you know what, don't even go to the nurse. She goes, go up to the front and tell them that you need to go home. And like, she didn't even like give me an option. Like, she just looked at me and said, you need to go home. And I was like leaning on my desk, and I said, okay. I said, just give me a minute, because I don't know if I can get up right now. And she was like, okay. And then she sent somebody to go tell them that they needed to call my mom, and literally sent me home, because it's that serious. Like, we downplay how serious it is. And I was suffering for so long, for so many years. And my mother had an early cycle. I think she started when, yeah, she said she started when she was 8. I didn't start till I was a teen, thank God. But like, literally, it's a pattern. It's a pattern. And my grandma was talking about how my mom used to throw up. I've never thrown up from my menstrual cycle, thank God. I don't like throwing up. I will, if anybody knows me, I would choke it down before I throw up. But my mom used to be on the floor, like, my grandma used to say she'd be with the heating pad, throwing up, like, in pain, bawling, like rolled over, and all these other things. And I was just like, why? And nobody could ever answer me. My grandma would just be like, that's just the way, like, that's just how it is. It's just how we are, and all these other things, and not realizing it's the food that we eat. Because my mom didn't eat a lot of meat and things. My mom was super, super skinny, but she would eat junk. She would eat just like junk snacks in between. As a child, I ate a lot of junk. I ate a lot of like honey buns and cinnamon rolls and all these other things. And all these things that were filled with soy, terrible products that are filled with soy. A lot of heavy things like breads and all these things that filled with soy. And I stopped consuming so much soy, and literally within I think 6 months, because I want to say 3 months was like terrible. I stopped taking pain pills on top of that. Like, I literally just cut off everything instantly. It was like, okay, I'm not going to eat soy anymore, and I'm not going to take these prescription pills anymore. Was suffering the first month. That first and second, I think, cycle was awful. Like, literally felt like I was going to pass out. Like, how it was even when I was taking the pain pills, though. But it was just like I didn't have anything to relieve me. So I started looking into herbs. I started doing herbs. I don't do them as much, and I still even then wasn't even doing them heavily as I could be. But I stopped eating the things that were harming me. I stopped consuming soy. And then after that, I started to heal. After that 3-month mark, I started to heal. I stopped having so much pain. I would maybe have a cramp every now and then, or maybe it would be for like an hour or two, and then I'd be straight. I could even take a nap through it, because I used to literally cramp in my sleep. And I had a soy, actually, I think a month or two ago, I had something with soy in it. I was at my best friend's house, and I started my cycle. Literally was out the whole day. Like, I remember going in and out. For what kind of herbs for, because I have so many different herbs. Hold on, I'm gonna plug up my iPad so I can look into it. But overall, like in general, I was in so much pain. And realizing that soy was the number one way for me to get balanced again, I stopped being in pain. And like now, I literally can sleep off the pain and I'm perfectly fine. That's why I said a lot of people are afraid of herbs, so I don't push herbs onto people. I'm like gung-ho about herbs, but I just tell people that I do take herbs. I'm not an herbalist. For gut health, hold on, I'm gonna let my iPad turn back on, and then I'm gonna address that, because it died while I was sitting here talking, so I gotta let it charge for a minute. But I learned how to heal myself with food first. Herbs was a plus, because you can't take herbs and then you not change your habits, if that makes sense, because it's not gonna work. Like, it contradicts itself. Like, it's like a default. Like, it's like you taking a laxative and then you still eating. Like you're just, you're just digesting and letting go. You're digesting and letting go rather than letting your body do its natural course of letting go everything. And so you can't keep eating and doing the same things that you do and take herbs. You have to make a change. And I don't know what your lifestyle and what your habits are, but that's just in general for everybody who watches this later on, because I'm going to post it on my Instagram. If you want to try herbs and implement herbs in your life, then you have to change the way that you consume. You have to change the things that you put on your body and in your body. And if you want to be able to establish these habits, if you don't know where to start, if you don't know where to go, I do offer one-on-ones. That's amazing that you don't eat fast food at all. That is absolutely amazing. Because like I said, like there's no telling what you're getting when you eat fast food. But you have to become aware and become conscious and be intentional with the things that you do, because like I said, you're choosing future you. So it might not be comfortable now to change. It might not be, the best timing for yourself. It might not in your brain be the right timing, but making that hard change now saves the hard decisions later on, saves the hard times later on, and saves you from having to keep going to the doctor, getting prescriptions and all these other things. Because if you heal, you don't need a prescription. Prescriptions don't heal you. They just pacify the situation. And if you need help getting out of that mind frame, if anybody needs help getting out of that mind frame, my masterclass on 12/17 will support you through that. It literally is my life, my course. Eat specialty restaurants at times. If they pride themselves on sourcing their like their herbs, their fruits, and like if they have a garden in the back, that's amazing. If they list where they get their source of their quality of products from, that's amazing. Because all the places that I go that are vegan and vegetarian, they list where they get their things from. They tell you where they get their things from. Some, like I have this one pizza place, it's not vegan. They do sell all varieties of pizza, but they have herbs outside their store. They tell you where they get their things from. Now their meat, I have not looked into that, but they tell you where they get their fresh produce from. So it's just doing more research into it. And if not, then cooking for yourself is the number one way to go, because organic is the only thing you should be consuming. Organic is the way to go. But if you need help getting in the mind frame and the mindset that you want to change and you just don't know how, you want to get in that optimistic mind frame around your food, but you don't know how, my masterclass on 12/17 will support you through that. The acronym is LIFE. It is giving you life. It's literally showing you how to live intentionally and to flow energetically. That is the acronym for the night, is live intentionally, flow energetically. Because if you live intentionally with your food and you live intentionally with your mindset, it gives you the opportunity to live in flow. And living in flow will allow you to be able to live your life without having to sit here and suffer, and to be energetically happy, to be energetic with what you're choosing for yourself, energetic in your habits and in your food. Because you can take the mind frame, the mindset that you get from that masterclass and put it towards anything. Because getting out of the set mind frame of I can't do this, I can't change, I don't know how, I don't know what to do, I have no support, all of the negative will allow you to realize that like you do have support. You can establish community. It's through what you want and how you choose to spend your resources. Because my coach was talking about the other day, if you spend $27.48, she's like $27 and some change every single time, every I think she said every day eating out or eating food in general, and it's not healthy food. Because if it's a healthy food, usually more likely than not, I get a good portion of food, so I have a 2 days worth of meals. But if you're spending that much eating out on fast food, she was talking about the fact that you spend $10,000 a year on food, and you can't invest in something that's going to help you elevate yourself. You can't invest in something that's literally going to help you change your life. And that is what the course is about. Life, living intentionally, flowing energetically. And I was like, that is crazy to think about, that people will go out and spend $30-something a day on some fast food, but they won't invest in something, because as soon as they see a price and they look and they're like, oh my God, that's too much. It's like, but it's teaching you how to do everything that you think that you can't do. And that is what that course is about, is teaching you to get out of that mind frame of I can't do, I don't know how, there's no support, there's no help, because it truly is support out there. I can support you through that. And I do offer one-on-ones. If there is something that you just want to specifically go into, I offer one-on-ones. I have that course. I have a detoxing guide that is absolutely amazing. And it's straight from what I did for myself, for me to be able to detox and to release. I detox my body fully through that guide, as I used fruits and vegetables, and then I have a select amount of herbs that I put in there. But I fully detox my body, and I show people through that guide how to detox. I'm proud of it because it's literally how I got myself from, I was suffering from not being able to get lower than 198. I've always been in the 190s to the 200 range. And then when I got into college, I hit past 200 for the first time in my life. It was at 215. Lost some weight, got down to 200. It was fine because I was like, okay, I guess this is just where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. 200, 198s, 200, 198s. I'm down to 173 right now. And before I lost the scale weight, because I stopped stepping on the scale when I was in the 198s, and I was just feeling terrible about myself. I hated looking at the scale, and I was truly being negative to myself. I started to realize that, like, I could do this if I just let myself release the scale. I started changing my habits. That's when I started becoming plant-based. I started losing physical weight because I talk about this on my TikTok. I felt so heavy at the time, and I didn't understand how heavy I was feeling, or why I was feeling so heavy, because scale-wise, like I said, I stepped on the scale to try to figure out. Scale-wise, I was the same. I was the same weight. And so I was like, why do I feel like I'm like a pile of bricks? Started to do research, started to change my habits and my ways. I stopped feeling heavy. My scale weight, didn't know at the time what it was or if it was the same. And then a couple years later, stepped back on the scale. I was around 190, 188. And I was like, okay, that's good. I was like, I'm not at 198s anymore. Like, I've lost a little bit of weight. And then started to focus on, okay, so how can I get down? Because I'm like, I'm eating the way that I should be, and not realizing that I was eating a lot of, not processed sugar, because I don't eat white sugar and I don't eat brown sugar anymore. I use coconut sugar and things like that. But I was eating a lot of processed food. That's snacks. That's what I'm trying to think of. I was eating a lot of like vegan snacks. So went on a fruit and vegetable cleanse, and was doing it with a coworker. We went for a week, did a fruit and vegetable cleanse. I lost 5 pounds in that fruit and vegetable cleanse, 5 pounds. And it wasn't 5 pounds of water weight where I couldn't keep it off. No, actually I lost 7. I take that back. I lost 5 pounds in 3 days. And that's what made me go, okay, like, I was like, this is water weight. Like, I was like, there's no way that I'm losing 5 pounds in 3 days. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to gain it back. I was like, I'm just going to not step on the scale. And my coworker was like, you didn't even step on the scale when you started, so how do you know? And I was like, because I stepped on it like a month ago, and I was like, I was around the same weight. And she was like, step on the scale on Saturday, because that was our last day. She just told me, she was like, just get on the scale and look. And she was like, you're not gonna feel bad. Like, she was like, just look. And I was like, okay. And then I said, after that, I'm not getting back on the scale. I don't care if I gain the weight back or anything. I just wanted to feel better, because like I said, I had been eating a lot of processed snacks. I got back on that scale because I think when I started, I was at 180. I was around like 183-ish, I think, because when I got back on the scale, I was around 176. And that was that Wednesday when I got back on the scale, I was on 176. So I was looking, and I was just like, okay. And then I got back on the scale that Saturday, and I was at 170, like 172.8. Like, I literally was at 172 and almost 173. And I was like, I just sat there and I was like, that's all it took? Like, I was, and I was like, I wasn't really starving this week. Like, the only time that it was the most struggle was the first 2 days. And that's just because, well, the first day was the struggle because I underestimated how much I really wanted to eat. Because I didn't understand that, like, yeah, I was on a fruit and vegetable cleanse. I had my protein, which was my avocado, but oh no, it was just a fruit fast. Just kidding. I did a fruit fast. My fruit and vegetable cleanse was recently. My fruit fast, I just did fruit. I underestimated how much I really was going to want to eat because I only came with like 3 things. And the next day, that Tuesday, I came with, I think, 4 things, and I only came with 1 avocado again. Wednesday, I came prepared. I came with 2 avocados. I had a whole thing of grapes. I had made me some applesauce, or just straight apples, nothing else, and some other things. That Wednesday, I was straight. Like, I was cool. And everybody's like, you're not hungry? I was like, girl, I'm fine. I was like, I done ate all day. Like, I was like, I really like this. I was like, I done ate all day long. And I was like, and not only have I eaten all day long, I was like, I'm losing weight while I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm sitting here eating my applesauce, and that applesauce was bomb. Like, I told all my coworkers, I said, one thing I do know is this applesauce is good. And they were like, and you're fine. Like, they're like, you're not unhappy, you're not hangry. I was like, no. I was like, I really am not. By Saturday, I was really sitting there thinking I was going to push it. I think I did. I take that back. I did push it till Sunday. So Saturday, I ate, I still did the fruit cleanse, and Sunday I fasted until about 5 o'clock. Like, I literally was like, I'm going to see how long I can push this now, because once you get out of the phase of eating the way that you do normally, you can fast easier. And that's what I put in my guide to show people how they can fast, but you have to work your way up to it. Because if you just go ahead and say you're going to fast, you're going to quit. And so I fasted that whole Sunday. Like, I think I did 24 hours. So I think I ate around 5 o'clock that Saturday, and I went till 5 o'clock that Sunday, 5 or 6 o'clock, and made it through. And I literally was sitting there thinking, like, I could do this for another week. Like, I was like, I really could. And then Monday, I did the same thing of me, like, eating fruits. I added some vegetables in, and I started to wing myself into eating more things, far as like making my recipes again, because I'm still plant-based, but like making my recipes. And I was raw food for about a week and a half. And I was like, this is really easy. Like, I was like, it's really not that hard. Just getting out of the mind frame first, allowing your mind to release you, because a lot of times our body is not hungry. Our mind is hungry. Our mind is saying, you usually eat around this time. Why are we not eating? It panics. Our stomach starts to growl. Because when you have that whole saying of go drink some water before you eat your meal, I don't always drink water before I eat my meal, but one thing I have noticed is that I drink water, I go get me some pumpkin seeds, because pumpkin seeds are an amazing source of estrogen, positive estrogen to put inside of your body that helps if you have estrogen dominance like I do. So I go get me a glass of water and some pumpkin seeds. I drink my glass of water. I take me a handful of pumpkin seeds, maybe 2, and I'll eat it, and then I'll wait. Usually I can last about an hour or 2 more, and then I get hungry. So that's what I've started to do. And if I still like eat my pumpkin seeds and 15 minutes later my stomach is like, then I'm like, okay, you're really hungry. But I've started to realize that I don't have to jump right into a meal as soon as my stomach starts growling. Sometimes it just needs a little snack. Sometimes it just needs something to just like give it a little something to fill it. And giving that little like taste test, that little teaser, it took time to get there though. It took time, because I've been intermittent fasting since 2020, since we went on the lockdown, because I took my health seriously when we went on the lockdown, because I was like, I don't want to sit here and gain all this weight, and I'm already like feeling, take that back. I had started losing weight before we had went on lockdown. So that's the reason why I was like, I don't want to start feeling the way that I was before, and I was at the time doing like starvation diets, eating salads and only like salads of greens, like nothing else, no whole foods inside of it, just straight like greens and some sauce on it. And usually it was like mustard, and I might put a little honey in it to make a little honey mustard. Oh, I hated doing that. I was so hungry. So I got out of the mindset of I have to starve. I started intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting is amazing. I go through that in my detox guide as well. And I started to realize that like if I eat past 12 and try to make it till 2, maybe even 3 o'clock, I usually don't really need to eat how they say to eat 2-3 meals a day. I used to eat 2 meals because I was hungry, I was learning, I was getting into the space, so I would eat 2 meals. Usually it would be like a half of a meal and a whole full meal, but now I usually only eat 1 full meal. And then if I am if I'm staying up late and I'm super hungry around 7-8 o'clock, I'll eat another meal, because I know that I'm going to be up until 12, and I don't want to hit 10 o'clock and then decide that I'm hungry. But if I know that I'm going to be in bed and I'm going to go to sleep by 10:30, 11 o'clock, I eat a snack. I don't eat anything heavy. I don't eat anything big, or vice versa, depending on if I ate a big lunch or a big dinner. But it was about me getting in the space of me being able to intermittent fast and understanding intermittent fasting, because you can't just jump into it and say, okay, I'm not going to eat until 2 o'clock, but you eat every day at 10, 9 o'clock, you eat a snack in between. Like, that's not going to work. You're going to be hungry, you're going to get mad, and you're not going to want to do it anymore. You have to wing yourself into the situation. So if you eat at 9 o'clock. You eat something at 9 o'clock. You start drinking your AM. Let's say you drink coffee, which I don't promote because coffee it's sprayed with pesticides. You drink your coffee. Switch from your coffee to your water. You start your day with water. If you're going to have coffee, drink water before and then you drink your coffee. And if you, after that, you have breakfast or you have breakfast with it, push your coffee and your breakfast back 30 minutes to an hour. Push it back an hour and a half, 2, however long that you think that you can hold out. After that, after you push it back, see how long you can go. Like, just keep trying and seeing how far you can go before you decide that, like, okay, I'm not really hungry right now. My mind is just telling my body that it's hungry because this is the set time that I eat. See how long you can go. Because hunger headaches, and I was watching this girl's TikTok the other day, she was talking about the fact that we're spoiled. And the reason why we get hangry and we get hunger headaches and all this other stuff, and it's amazing. Like, seeing the benefits of intermittent fasting is absolutely amazing. And she was talking about how we're spoiled. And our brain is literally like, we're getting mad and angry and upset and getting, excuse me, food headaches because we're so spoiled. And once we get out of the spoiled mindset and understand that, like, you don't have to eat all day, every day, then you can get into the space of the health and if you're spiritual, the spiritual quality that you, the spiritual journey that you want. Because when I was doing my fasting, I was able, because I used to pray a lot before I would eat. Like, that was like a habit. I stopped, I got out of the habit, and I hated it. But I could never get back on the track that I wanted to. And I focused while I was while I was actually like 24-hour fasting. I even did a 3-day fast, but that was while I was suffering from a UTI. I couldn't think of what the word was. I was suffering from a UTI at the time, and I did not want to go to the doctor. I did not want to take anything, and I did not know what to do. So I looked it up, and they said if you just do a water fast for a couple of days, it should go away. I did a water and a watermelon fast for 3 days. Had no symptoms, was perfectly fine afterwards, didn't go to the doctor, didn't need to go to the doctor. So after that fast, like, that was really what got me, like, I can fast for a couple of days and be fine, and just eat your fruits in between, eat water-based things, drink your water. And I got into this mindset in the space of, I can do this. And so I started to realize, that, like, this is possible. And it's not hard. It's something that you can do, and it's good for your health. So that's when I started to really look into fasting, because I knew about intermittent fasting, but overall fasting, that's when I really started to look into that. And going through the fasting phases, that's when you start, like, how I started to realize that, like, oh, my body started to heal itself. Like, that's the reason why I stopped being in pain. That's the reason why, like, not only was I in pain, but, like, I was no longer bloated. Like, I felt good, I felt energized, and I didn't even eat any food. And we have, as American society, we have so much stored up and built up. People are worried about being malnourished and all this stuff, but we are malnourished eating the way that we are now. And people don't realize that we are malnourished now. You are malnourished the way that you eat now. And a reason why that we're so malnourished, and how you can tell, is because the way that we eat, far as we eat a lot of junk or eating out and all these other things, and then we don't put any nutrients in our body, and we wonder why we have so many mental illnesses. We wonder why so many people are unhappy with life. People are losing their mind. People are literally going out here and doing crazy things, because when you are malnourished, you cannot discern. You cannot be spiritually rooted. You cannot be guided. And that's why fasting is such a spiritual journey. And getting back on, because I lost my train of thought, but getting back on the fact that, like, I stopped praying before I was eating, and I couldn't get back on it until I started fasting. And then I realized that, like, I was praying through my fasting and thanking God for, like, being in this journey and being able to be okay and to feel better and to heal my body. I got back into the space of, I need to be thanking him before every single meal, because it's a blessing, one, to eat. And then two, it's a blessing, the fact that, like, I have food on my plate and that I can eat, and that I can choose to fast rather than forced to be in fast. Because in that moment, in that scenario of me having that illness, I was forced to fast. It was either that or go to the doctor, and I didn't want to do that. So I was forced to fast. And I healed myself. And that making me realize that, like, I can heal myself, and he has made me able to heal myself. And that if I'm not giving to my body, I'm not choosing my future self. And it's amazing that I can choose to fast rather than being forced to, because I don't ever want to get to the space that he forces me to fast again. That's for sure. I'd rather choose it. Let me get up and I'm going to go see what herbs, because I think it should be charged. It should be charged enough for me to get on it. Yeah, okay. It was amazing. So I thank the Most High every single time, every meal now. And if I don't, like, I feel off. And that was the same thing about me getting into my Bible. Was like, I would get up and start doing what I wanted to do and what I thought. Like, before I was able to be blessed with me being able to leave my job, I was thinking that I couldn't wake up, I couldn't read my Bible, it's too early, like, I have all these other things, like, mentally I'm stressed already, and not having that space and that time. And I told him, and I dedicated myself to him and saying, get me out of this situation and this space, and I promise that I will dedicate as soon as I open my eyes is to you. And literally, and before I even open my eyes, I start praying. I don't do anything else unless I have to get up and go to the bathroom, but I don't do anything else unless I read my Bible first. And the same thing with me eating. Like, I don't start eating unless I get up and I get my prayer in, because it's like, it's truly a blessing to not be forced into this situation. And reading in the Bible and understanding that, like, he forced all of those people, like, not all, but a lot of those people in the Bible, or those stories, like Moses had to be forced into the space of changing his mindset and to get in that mind frame. Who else? Jonah had to be forced in the mindset and mind frame. He literally had to take him from the boat. They threw him off the boat, and he had to get scooped up by that big fish and taken to where he told him to go. Like, he had to force Pharaoh to let his people go. There's so many stories and scenarios of him forcing his hand and forcing his way on to people. And we are in a spoiled society, and we don't realize that, like, he is telling us that our body, he's speaking to us through our body, that we are spoiled. You need to stop doing the way that you're doing, and you need to choose what he wants for us. And he gives us these illnesses, he gives us signs, and then we ignore them. And then we want to cry to him when we're suffering from cancer. We want to cry to him when we've been put on dialysis. We want to cry to him when we're in the hospital and we're suffering. But it's like, he gave you all the signs. He showed you he's not necessarily swallowing you up with the big fish and making you do the way he wants you to do, because these are your choices. He gave us a choice. You choose him or you don't. And he's speaking to us through our body. And people don't think of it that way, but it's like, it's truth. Because I developed asthma through working out. And I never understood, like, how can you develop asthma from working out? Like, I was like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I literally, when my doctor told me I had asthma from working out, I just looked at her. I was like, how can I get asthma from doing what I'm supposed to be doing? But I wasn't listening to my body. I was forcing my body to run. I was forcing my body to excessively work out when my body does not want that. My body does not like that. And I was constantly doing, because I was playing softball, I was doing volleyball. And then at one point I was doing softball and travel volleyball at one time. And so I had developed asthma beforehand and in between. And then on top of that, like, I had coaches that were telling me to do this and to do this, and I'm telling them, and I'm like, I physically cannot do, like, I was like, you're not understanding. I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, and this was before I knew I had asthma. I had messed up my knee because I was running stairs, and I was telling them, like, if I walk the stairs, my knee hurts. So, like, I was running stairs is not gonna work for me. Like, I was like, I can do whatever else you want me to do. But then they called me lazy, and they do all this other stuff. Like, yeah, what kind of asthma do you have? Because it's like, it's, and I healed myself from my asthma. Like, I no longer suffer from asthma symptoms. I have not taken my inhaler in, I think, 3 years. I think I bought 2 inhalers after I started living the way that I did, just to have it, because I was, like, nervous that I was going to have, instances for me not being able to breathe. And I've only ever had one asthma attack since I stopped taking my inhaler, and it was because I was in the snow and I was walking and I couldn't breathe, and I was carrying a grocery bag, so it was snow, so I was walking and it was heavy. I was like obviously just out of breath and I couldn't. You have exercises, so yeah. And so I healed myself, and it was through my habits and through me understanding that I don't have to overly exercise. I don't have to run. Like, I walk, and I walk as often as my my cycle, because I sync with my cycle as my cycle allows. And I also do stretches and exercises inside of in my room on my yoga mat that allow me to be active, to be healthy, to not be a sediment person, but for me not to overwork my body. Because as women, we have to understand that our body is not meant to be overworked. We're not meant to be doing the heaviest, craziest things, because that causes imbalances in our body. And those imbalances causes us to have things like asthma. It gets us asthma, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm trying to look to see if I have any herbs written down for gut health. So do you have like any gut issues like IBS or anything? I currently don't see any herbs written down for myself for gut health, but if you give me some symptoms that you have, I might be able to find some, because I have like overall health pages, so I might have it written down somewhere else. But I genuinely believe, and I know, because literally I am a witness. It is me. Your body is designed to heal itself. You can heal yourself. You just have to get back to your natural state. You have to get back to nature. That's why my name is literally Some Kind of Natural, because literally you have to put natural things inside of your body. If it's not natural, it's not going in my body, it's not going on my body. You have to expose yourself to natural things in order for you to heal. And just for bloating overall in general, okay, so for bloating, I wouldn't recommend herbs. Like, obviously herbs are great, they definitely do the thing, but for you to get unbloated, because bloating is something that I talk about on my TikTok channel, the number one way for you to deal with bloating is to deal with the fact that you're having inflammation, because bloating comes from inflammation and buildup and toxin buildup. And that's what I go into in my detoxing guide, because it's about what you're putting inside of your body. So like you said, that you don't eat a lot of fast food. If you eat fried foods and you fry it in inflammatory oils, if you don't use high quality extra virgin olive oil, if you don't use high quality avocado oil, and you use any other oil outside of that, then you are going to have inflammatory you're going to cause inflammation inside of your body, and they cause toxin buildup inside of your body, because when you heat like canola oil, grapeseed oil, rapeseed oil, all the other oils, sunflower oil, they cause free radicals, because they're heated up at a high rate or for long periods of time that they can't sustain, and then that causes free radicals inside the oil, and then you cook your food in it, and then you consume it, so it causes inflammation and toxin buildup. So an anti-inflammatory that I have right now on my list is I have an inflammatory tea, if you're looking for a tea. So I have rosemary, pineapple, cinnamon, and you need to use Ceylon cinnamon is the best. That is a overall healthy cinnamon, a type of cinnamon, not the cinnamon that you can get like Kroger and things, because the Ceylon cinnamon has all the health benefits that the regular cinnamon does not. And then it has cloves, cayenne, I have apple cider vinegar. Turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory. Turmeric is amazing. You have to add black pepper in order to activate it. And then lemon, green tea, which I think it's called Cornelius sinensis, is the green tea that I recommend, because matcha is the trend right now, but matcha has heavy metals inside of it. I do not recommend matcha. And adding honey, and you steep all of these products for 4 to 6 hours, 2 to 4 minimum, you can keep it for 2 to 4 days after that. And like I said, I'm going to repost this on my Instagram. So if you don't catch all of this, then you can just watch it back. But those are absolutely amazing. Like, all those products separately are amazing, but putting them together, that will definitely get you and uninflamed. But turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, black pepper, the go-tos. If you're just looking for something for you to take in the AM, those are amazing things for you just to go ahead and like take it back, like kind of like a shot thing. And another one that's like a good tidbit is moringa. Moringa is absolutely amazing. You're so welcome. I go into like more detail and in depth, and I literally give a whole list of things that you can add and combine and you can move. I give drinks in my detox guide. I do a detoxing. I have a detoxing bath for you. Literally, I go through every aspect of you being able to heal your body. Absolutely amazing. Like, all of these benefits, all of these natural sources are so beneficial to your body, because getting inflammation out is the number one way for you to be able to heal yourself and to not suffer. And a lot of us are suffering, and that's the reason why, because it starts with toxin buildup and inflammation. And then once you go from toxin buildup to inflammation, that's when you start to get illnesses. And then the illnesses, amazing. Like, I go grab that, because it will definitely support you through that. And like I said, like, my masterclass to get you out of the mind frame of our old habits and our old mind frame around foods will support you through if you are looking for a change and a transition. But if not, that definitely will get you started in the process of you healing your body and understanding that we truly can heal ourselves, because our body is meant to heal. And for anybody else that's wanting to get out of that mind frame, that wants to heal their body, go grab that detox guide. I will be doing a replay for my masterclass on 12/17. That replay will be higher than the price that I have right now. So if you are looking to grab it at the rate that it is now, I suggest you going ahead, because it will be higher, because it is literally life-changing information. And going into 2024, everybody loves to wait for the new year to get their resolution out and to change their habits and to change their ways. But this will allow you to start before that new year, to going ahead and set your goals and set your boundaries for yourself, and to truly get yourself out of the pessimistic and get into the optimistic. Because I personally started my health journey the October before the new year, because I wanted that change before I started the new year. Because when you change at the new year and then you mess up, you feel like a failure, you feel like you fail, and you want to give up. If you start beforehand and something does happen and you might fail, you kind of give yourself some more grace. Like, I feel like you can give yourself more of a grace period than when you start as soon as it happens, like as soon as the new year happens. And it gets you in the space that, like, change can happen now rather than waiting. It keeps you in that mind frame of, if you bought the thing and you're thinking about it and you want to do it, why wait? You can do it now. And that is my goal for people, to not keep coming back and to keep having the same issue. You can keep coming back, but it's going to be for something different. It's going to be for more knowledge. It's not going to be for the same issue. You're not going to keep coming back to me saying, well, I'm having this issue and this issue. You're going to be able to heal the problem that you have, and to learn more, and to elevate yourself, and to choose your truth, your future self, choose your truth, which is that you can heal, because healing is possible for you, and healing is easy if you have help. Healing is possible if you have help. And if you want to help yourself in that situation, I suggest that you go ahead and go grab that, because I will be going into a deeper detail of why we want to live energetically and to live intentionally and to flow energetically. And I do have a freebie that I'm going to be giving those people who are in that class, because it's truly a blessing for you to want to change and to get into that phrase and that mind frame. And I always want to give back to people who I pour into, and I want them to understand they're not alone. And if you do feel like that you have to do this alone, or you feel like that this is not something that you can do, and you need more of a direct situation, if you need more of a direct coaching, if you need somebody who is because I offer I'm going to say it this way. I offer to do audits, so pantry audits, home audits, to get the chemicals out of your home and out of your pantry. And that's with your food and with your products that you use, as far as like body wash, mouthwash, perfumes, cleaning products, all those things. If you need a one-on-one, like an in-depth, like in-person, I mean, not in person, but like, because it'll be over Zoom, but a conversation rather than a masterclass, I do offer one-on-ones. And home audits are different than one-on-ones, but you can shoot me an email or you can DM me and you can let me know if you want to do a home audit, if you would like a one-on-one, so we can discuss like different foods and transitioning and going into a plant-based lifestyle. We can talk about that as well. I offer doing what is it called, grocery lists, like calendar-based grocery lists and things like that, things for you to be able to have I guess a set mind frame and a set schedule, a set way to do it, like, if that makes sense, a way for you to be able to a structure. That's what I'm trying to think, a structure for you to be able to start. Because I started from scratch. I was the only one in my family that did this. I was the only one that had this for myself. And I didn't have anybody to lean on. I was kind of leaning on my own understanding, and I made mistakes. I learned a lot. I failed a lot, and I went through it and it's trial and error. And no complaints, because I am where I am today, and it's amazing, but you don't have to do it alone. And like, it's so much easier with another person, because my niece had been plant-based, I think a year or maybe a year and a half or two before I was. So like, I did have somebody to ask a few questions, but she was still in her, baby phase. She was learning too. And so us being able to like text each other, call each other, send a picture and be like, these ingredients are amazing. Like, this is great. Like, I found this, or did you know that we've been eating this and it has soy in it? Did you know that this has this in it and they changed the ingredients? Like, not being able to, it's some kind of natural, being able, it's linked in my bio too. It's literally amazing for you to understand that, like, you don't have to do it alone, because doing this alone can be hard. And especially if you're the only one in your family that is doing this for yourself. So like I said, it's been amazing to be driven to this place of being able to heal people, and God, the Most High, showing me that I am able to heal myself, and I'm able to show other people how to heal, and to show them that healing is possible for our people. We just have to get into the mind frame that I want this for myself. This is possible, and that the doctors aren't going to do it, because they're just literally using me for my money. Because the sicker you are, the more money that they make. The healthier that you get, the healthier that you want to be. That's how I can provide more. That's how I can produce more. That's how I can help more. And that's how I truly feel and know that I am doing a service to his people, because I don't want to put anything out that is not going to help you heal. I don't want to give you anything that's not something that is rooted in my truth, that is something that I did for myself. I'm not going to give you false hope on something, and if it doesn't work for you, I want to be able to work with you to understand like why and what happened and what didn't work for you and what could be changed. Because I know that everything that worked for me might not work for everybody else, but overall general consensus, that can work, and it will work if you follow the steps and you follow the rubric, because it truly is. I give templates, it truly is an easy process if you want to do the work, if you truly want that. And I don't see anybody spending money on something, especially at a high value product like this is, and not wanting to do the work, because it is a high value product. I put time and I put energy into it, and you literally get the framework for you to be able to accomplish each step and each goal that you want. So if your goal for yourself is to do a fruit and vegetable cleanse, or a fruit fast, I give you a literally schedule for the days, grocery list for yourself, and then why it is amazing and the benefits that you get from doing those things. And so I truly believe that we are all able to heal ourselves, and the Most High has shown me that there are possible ways. He has given us everything on this earth to heal, including our bodies, ourselves, and then the things that we consume. So I have enjoyed this live. If you have any more questions, I'm taking more questions at this time if you want to know anything else. If not, you can always shoot me a DM if anything comes up. And yeah, you don't forget to follow me on TikTok, because that's mostly where I am. That's where I post my videos. I post Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday are my that's my in between work days. My not really off days, but they're more of desk days, doing my editing, doing my research, doing my writing. You're so welcome. You're absolutely welcome. I definitely enjoyed this live. And like I said, if you have any questions, just shoot me a DM or just let me know. And all my links are my Instagram bio. That's for all my socials. That's for all of my products, all of my services. And thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday self-care day, because I do self-care Sundays. And just remember that choosing your future self now will allow you to not have to choose hard decisions and to make hard choices later on. Choosing your future self now will keep you from suffering later on. So I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.